All right, the first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to hit up a controversial topic, okay?
Oh, no.
We've touched on this before. We've messed around. But the big thing is we're going to be pitting two franchises together. However, they're similar. What I'm talking about is Lord of the Rings versus the Hobbit.
Rings of Power.
No.
We're not talking about the Rings of Power.
Let's stick away from the Rings of Power for
I wanted to get woke.
this episode.
I want to talk about Lord of the Rings, Rings of Girl Power.
Rings of Girl Power.
And I wanted to get woke.
So the answer, the problem that I'm seeing online.
What's the answer?
The problem that I'm seeing online is that people are still wondering, why is Lord of the Rings better than The Hobbit? Or to make it negative, why is The Hobbit so much worse than Lord of the Rings?
I think it all comes down to, you know...
you know.
Hit the homies with
What a Peter Pan.
I don't know. I got nothing for you. I mean, we've always said the
practical effects.
Practical. That's the word I was looking for. Practical in Lord of the Rings is superior to the animation in The Hobbit.
Okay.
That's not necessarily true. We just always say that.
The animation in The Hobbit is superior than the animation
in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. That's pretty obvious. You can see that. You can look. It's newer technology, newer techniques. But for some reason, the practical effects lend the sort of weight and heft and realism to the original series that just feels right.
Yeah, it do feel right. Now, I will say this.
Wedding?
The dragon flame is sick. I've never seen this poster before.
Joshua.
The smoke.
I wonder what you're talking about.
It's not even the right dragon. Like, if it's supposed to be Smog, look, it's got front legs.
Yeah, front legs.
What are you saying? It's not a...
it's not a... Well, technically. You're going to make me do this voice the entire time.
Yep.
Smog is a wyvern.
Wyvern, yeah.
And that's clearly a drake.
This cloud is.
It's a drake.
A drake.
And not a wyvern.
Not a wyvern.
Now, I don't know...
the specifics. This could be fan-made.
Technicals.
Fan-made get contextual problems all the time. Continuity issues.
I do think in like the old cartoon one of The Hobbit, he was a drake.
Oh, so they be changing it up.
All right,
and I don't
it's
think
okay. I like it.
I don't.
We
think
need
they
to
say
nail
in the
though.
book.
We got to nail this though.
I don't know if they.
Why is The Hobbit? Because we talked about practical effects. Yes. Blah 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 blah. We've repeated ourselves multiple times over with this department. But why is The Hobbit not as good as Lord of the Rings?
Okay. 30 seconds on the clock.
Tick tick.
Okay. 3 books, 3 movies. 1 book, 3 movies. That means you have to add stuff. That's That means, I mean, things don't add up here.
Joshua keeps rolling the Peter Pan.
No, they have to add a lot of stuff that is not in the book in the movies because there's 3 movies.
And we had a conversation about this recently where they added a whole bunch of stuff that's not in the books, and then they shortened a lot of the stuff that's actually in the books.
Yes, that is true.
Okay, yeah.
So it feels a little bit disjointed. I'm okay with it. I don't like when books start doing, or movies or TV shows start doing fast travel.
Okay.
Where it's like a journey that's supposed to take 5 weeks.
It happens to be unexpected.
A journey that's supposed to take 5 weeks or months.
Yes.
Okay. And you start off with these characters, and then we do a little bit. We do some montage, we do some B-roll, we do some of them walking on mountaintops, and then we get to maybe halfway to their destination. Excuse me, and all of the kind of energy between the characters is exactly the same.
Okay.
There's no difference.
Yeah.
Even though when you spend months with people, eating outside, and sleeping outside and sharing space and
fighting next to each other and walking for hours and hours on end, you would think that you become pretty tight.
Characters would get to know each other better and not be like, I'm not sure about you. 6 months later, still not sure about you. And then, but after tomorrow, when we have that battle and you save my life,
you're a homie, bro.
You're a homie.
What is it? It was 11 months to the day. Since
something like
since Weathertop. Are you talking about the end of Lord of the Rings?
No.
That's what you were saying. That's what you were quoting.
No, yeah.
It's been 11. It's been 1 year and something months to the day.
11 months and 29 minutes.
He says that in The Hobbit too, though. Doesn't
I don't know
some quote?
And I'm not sure about you.
And I'm not sure about you. Okay, so let's do this. Why did you skip forward?
You
don't like this picture?
No.
I don't know how you find the whack, most janky.
First off, the camera that's way over there that we show the thing on can't see the low quality.
I'll give you that.
Second of all, I download a high quality image, but there's this new thing with Google Images that downloads a web, I think it's called a BD or something file, and it's not really a picture file. So I have to go in and take screenshots, and sometimes online they're advertising really high quality picture, and when I download it, it's super low quality. So I don't know what to tell you.
I love Minecraft as well.
All right, so let's get into this. What does Lord of the Rings have that we love so much that The Hobbit does not?
But let's see, character development.
Let's not hate on The Hobbit too much because I think ultimately it's a good story. The problem is we're pitting it against Lord of the Rings because it's the same.
Development. Better action and fighting, practical effects.
Feels more gritty.
Longer travel.
Higher stakes.
The lines between people for some reason feel more natural.
Oh yeah, the higher stakes. Yeah,
they took a lot longer time filming Lord of the Rings than they did The Hobbit.
True.
The thing I enjoyed in the first movie, but did not get in the second two, The Hobbit, because it was more of a teen book and more of an adventure. There was a lot of, far over, and the music, poems,
the mystery, the lore.
Well, the music and the poems
that were based around the Psalms that were written out in Tolkien's
there were a lot of songs in The Hobbit.
The book itself.
We got the perfect amount in the first movie, in my opinion. There was not overwhelming, but there was a few.
So you're saying they took a detour?
The first and second and third movie, none. No poems, no.
I would say the first movie felt magical. It felt like the start of an adventure.
Except towards the end, where everything became animated with the wolves and the orcs and everything,
Everything's animated, like they're running from the goblins and...
the trees, everything's animated.
Every time the dwarves get into an encounter, it was almost as if whoever was writing the action sequence was like, you guys remember like the best part of Lord of the Rings, right? And
let's do that.
And everybody was like, yeah, it was the gritty action and how real it felt. And they were like, no, it was when Legolas did cool stuff. So let's make all of the dwarves the ability to do that, but they're dwarves, so they're kind of bumbling through cool stuff.
So it's like cool clumsy,
and I hate it. Every time I see the barrel scene, I hate it. I like when they're running through the goblin caves. I hate it because it's like, oh, here's a ladder, and they all climb up, and then it lands over and it breaks. But they create a dwarf ladder. I just.
You don't like the roly-poly sensation of the dwarves. I don't like
the roly-poly sensation of the dwarves.
Okay. No roly-poly, not enough music.
Hold on, we got to point this out. As far as Gollum goes, though, right?
Gollum's amazing.
In The Hobbit, the Gollum slaps.
everything.
Gollum is
Gollum's cave in The Hobbit.
The first movie was superior.
Crushes
The
it.
first movie was, I would say,
The more solid.
almost comparable to some of the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
Not as good, but enjoyable. If you put aside some of the, the bumbling fantasy elements of the dwarves, all of the Gollum stuff is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they're in the cave, I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying that story.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, I enjoy the story of the first Hobbit movie. Second one, second one, I enjoy quite a bit of the second one as well, except, of course, for the bumbling antics.
Yeah.
I just had a scary thought.
And what's that scary thought, sir?
So they took quite a few years to get the first movie done. They took their time on that. Then a year later, they had to come up with the second one. Then a year after that, they came up with a third one. We've had 10 years, 12 years to come up with Avatar. Then 3 is promised to us in 2 years or 1 year? 2 years, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Then the next
4 is promised to us 2 years after that.
Do you think
Yes.
Are you worried?
Avatar is going to be
I don't know.
This
This is my prediction. Actually, let's skip this thought. All right. We'll come back to it because it's a part of what we're talking about later.
Oh, yeah. We are talking about Avatar a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So one thing I wanted to bring up is that the Fellowship of the Ring had a band of fellows.
Yeah.
And so did The Hobbit. In The Hobbit, the fellows stuck around with each other longer than the Fellowship of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think what connected us with this short-lived fellowship, but not so much with
What are all their names?
Aragorn, Gandalf, Legolas, Boromir, Gimli, Pippin, Merry, Frodo, and Sam?
What are all the dwarves' names?
Whoa,
Keely?
wait a minute. Did
What?
you just...
What?
I said Pippin.
Pippin.
Mary.
Pippin and Mary.
I thought you got him
I thought he got it reversed.
I know Pippin and Mary.
I was about to
Don't
say.
screw with me
You
on
get
the
that back.
difference between Pippin and Mary. Okay.
Do you know all the names of the dwarves?
Dory, Nori, Keely, Willie,
Yeah,
Stinky. I don't know.
Keely,
Sleepy,
Feely,
angry,
Dwalin.
dopey.
Do we have a picture of that?
No.
Who's Gimli's? Gloin.
Gloin, Oin.
Yeah. Thorin Oakenshield. I don't know them all.
I don't either.
Bomber.
Bumper.
So you're saying we basically
You
just weren't introduced to
You
them.
don't get to know. You don't
Yeah,
feel like
the
you
dwarves
know
aren't even on
the
this
dwarves.
poster.
Well, we got Thorin. We got to know Legolas more.
How many dwarves are on this poster? Thorin.
The main dwarf. But listen, we did actually get to know the Elf King and Legolas a little bit more in The Hobbit
And
than we did the dwarfs. Yeah, they're popping tonight. It's just Tom Cruise.
It's just Tom
It's just Tom Cruise.
I don't mind that kind of stuff, but I would have liked to either focus more on the dwarves or something, because none of them have any like real storylines except for a few of them, a few of the main ones. And but they add Legolas in here, and they add what's her face,
the one that wasn't in the book.
the lady that
relationship.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. That's my favorite part of them.
You love the relationship that has nothing to do with the literature.
I love the relationship that has nothing to do with
The guy
literature.
who hates shoehorned in love stories.
Yes, out of the entire series, that's my favorite part. I love that relationship. It's the 2000s like drama, in me. That's like, ooh.
This fella's name is Balin, right?
No.
What's his name?
BR.
Yeah, it's
Bard.
Bard.
the
I knew it
bowman.
started with a B. Who's Balin? Your mama. I don't know.
Balin's the one with the gray beard that swoops out.
Yeah.
Who the
oldest.
They go to his grave
Yeah.
in Moria.
Yeah, they go to his grave in Moria in Lord of the Rings. So, I forgot his name now.
Bard.
They actually spent a crap ton of time on Bard.
Which also, which is good because he's an important character
in The Hobbit.
But it feels like they spend a lot of unnecessary time with the whole lake town. Spending time with Bard is fine, but Lake Town in general, I don't feel like we need to
brushed through.
They didn't give a final goodbye song, the Dwarfs, to Thorin, did they, when he died at his funeral? That wasn't in the movie. I don't know if it was in the extended. I don't think it was in the normal.
You're asking a question I can't answer.
I don't know.
What else did Lord of the Rings have? The dragons? No, they had a dragon in Hobbit.
More...
I think, okay, let me say this. I want to say this. The book of The Hobbit was meant for kids to read because the Lord of the Rings was not appropriate for kids to read. That's why Tolkien created it the way it came out, all right? In some ways, the movies take a lighter-hearted feel to the troubles of Middle-earth.
So,
in the same ways the books did.
If you look at it like that, it feels a little bit more fantastically,
more for like a Harry Potter thing,
because it's more of almost like a story for a younger audience, almost as if Bilbo wrote it that way.
Yeah,
it's more fantastical. Bilbo wrote it more fantastic than it necessarily was. And if you watch the movies that way, I would say you could thoroughly enjoy them.
I think you can thoroughly enjoy it.
However, that's not how they were made. They weren't made to be more fantastic. They were trying to be fantastic with a lot of the things while also maintaining a lot of the somber seriousness that the original trilogy had.
In some ways, whenever they would bring up the necromancer, it foreshadowed what's coming in Lord of the Rings. So they kind of brought that vibe, especially relating to Gandalf. But at the same time, I think overarching the story does feel like that. I mean, I watched The Unexpected Journey before I watched Desolation of Smog 2 years later, or 1 year later, I guess it was. And I felt after The Unexpected Journey, I'm like, okay, let me prepare myself. It feels more childish. I'm okay with that. Then we got Desolation of Smog, and I feel like it wasn't as childish, but there were still some hacks in there. Don't know why they brought in, this big orc battle in Lake Town into the equation with Legolas there.
Right.
But I was like, but Smog is pretty cool.
I'll take it.
Smog is pretty cool.
Everything with Smog is amazing.
And then we got Battle of the Five Armies, and it felt like I was in a VR world.
This is a cartoon.
Yeah, it's a cartoon.
People are bonking each other on the heads and dying.
Yeah. So the Battle of the Five Armies came out kind of whack, honestly, I think Smog attacking Lake Town looked really cool visually in the Battle of the Five Armies, but besides that, that was it. It seems like overall, The Hobbit has really awesome hot pockets.
Yeah, I would agree.
Hot pockets of awesomeness.
Hot pockets.
A lot of smog. Benedict Cumberbatch crushed Smog, right? Hot pockets.
Would it be more Hot Pockets or
Gollum
pizza rolls?
It'd be Hot Pockets.
Oh,
Gollum coming in with Gollum's Cave, the iconic scene of Bilbo finding the ring and encountering
the riddle battle.
The riddle battle with Smeagol.
The battle of the riddles.
Iconic.
I feel like you guys missed my joke.
No, we definitely did.
We missed it. Well, whoop.
I said Hot Pockets.
Oh, come on, man.
Sorry. No, you're right. It did, but we also had a lot of war. How many times did they say war in the last movie? War. Get ready for war.
That's just dwarves,
these bats, Legolas said these bats were bred for war. If you do this, you are inciting war. It's like, you mean a battle?
Specifically a battle with five armies?
Battle. Are you trying to invoke a battle of 5 armies? Yeah. Now, I went back and I watched these movies fairly recently.
Okay.
The Rings or the
Hobbit?
We watched The Rings
and
once
I watched
every
them
year.
and I was like, you know what? They're not as bad as I always end up thinking later. Just like now, I'm like, no, the last one is terrible. The Desolation of Smog isn't
pretty good.
You know, it's not
Outside of the
100%,
barrels.
but it's pretty fun. And then I go back and I watch them. I'm like, these are fun movies.
These are fun movies, and this is the point of the video.
They're fun blockbuster movies, but they are not what the original three were.
That's true.
Which are trend-setting, iconic,
dark,
like masterful filmmaking movies.
Masterful.
Yeah.
The thing is, we have to take into consideration. Peter Jackson is and will always be one of my favorite directors. At the same time, I give him the benefit of the doubt and say he was trying to make Hobbit feel like the Hobbit book, not like the Lord of the Rings book, okay? He added a lot of unnecessary stuff, but at the same time, it's a fun adventure. I'm only mad at it because I read The Hobbit like 3 times.
Yeah.
All right? So I know what takes place in the book, and I know what doesn't take place in the book. At the same time, he did similar stuff with Lord of the Rings, okay? And we're not going to fault Peter Jackson for what he did. I would say he didn't hit it on the nose as hard as Lord of the Rings, but it was a good effort. We still enjoyed it. We got awesome moments in the process. And yes, although The Hobbit does not live up to the standard of storytelling and visual cinematography masterpiece.
Visual excellence.
Filmmaking excellence. That Lord of the Rings portrays. It's still a good series.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're to say why isn't The Hobbit as good as The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit movies are blockbusters. Lord of the Rings are films.
Yeah.
And that's what I would say. The Lord of the Rings are filmmaking at its best. The Hobbit movies are blockbuster movies.
Pretty much. They're the Christmas movies.
Right.
The ones that come out around Christmas where your whole family goes to watch. And like you had a good time with your family, but ultimately slightly disappointed with the film.
It's like, you know, Dune is a filmmaking film, right? And a great adventure and exercise and what we can do with visuals and sound and everything.
Yep.
You know,
Star Wars.
Thor Ragnarok, you know, Thor Love and Thunder is going to be a summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, it is. Same with Dominion, Jurassic World.
Yeah.
I remember when The Hobbits came out, we got our tickets.
Dude, it's an event.
As soon as it came, as you could, we went to the premiere. This is when you could do the midnight premiere, which they don't allow anymore for... People always ruin it for...
Yeah.
We dressed up in the Hobbits.
That's when
we get there at like 10:30 when it's not there. Starting until 12, and we have tickets already. We get there to get the seat and everything. We're all dressed up in
a Hobbit.
As a Hobbit.
I was barefoot rolling up in the...
Dang.
We were all...
I was actually wearing flip-flops, but for any pictures that was taken of me, I took my flip-flops off.
We dressed up. We did everything we could.
We had friends with us.
We did. We made it a whole event. It was like the Oscars.
I grew out my hair and curled it.
Wait, what?
To watch that movie.
I thought you were going to say
amazing.
something else, but yeah, it was good. You want to move past this though?
So yeah, that's why The Hobbit was not as good as Lord of the Rings. But that does not mean you cannot enjoy it.
Yeah, I'd say you can go back and thoroughly enjoy the movies. I did.
Take this as a prompt.
It was like a weekend or something that we had come back from a trip and I was feeling down. And I was like, I'm gonna sit here and watch the Hobbit movies.
And it lifted your spirit.
It did.
Maybe we should do that again I know we're in our 20s, almost, getting up there in our 20s for Avatar when it comes out.
Dress up, face paint.
We try to get the earliest showing possible. We somehow do something. We dress up.
We will say
contract Esther to come do Avatar paints for us.
Ooh.
It's gonna be difficult.
Before we move completely on, I will say that The Hobbit is the first Lord of the Rings movie I ever saw.
That's true, which is wild to think about.
My dad, this was, our campground had a flood, so we were living in one of the little cabins while we were renovating the house. My dad came home. It was just me and my dad and my other sibling, like the boys. It was the boys.
The boys.
And so he was like, I got The Hobbit from Redbox. Let's watch it.
And you're like,
yeah. Mom never lets us watch Lord of the Rings. And so he put it in and we watched it and we enjoyed the crap out of it.
Yeah.
And then he came home later. He's like, I got all 3 Lord of the Rings films. Let's watch all of them. So we did that too.
Heck yeah. See,
Filmmaking at its best.
at its best.